Mi gente, you already know who it is. It's Danny Limelight. And I need all of you to subscribe to According to Woods podcast on Facebook, YouTube, and all other platforms.
What's good, party people? This is According to Woods, and I have the honor and privilege of having an LFA veteran. He is a proud proponent of Alliance East in Santee, California. He is the one, the only, Luke, the Landshark, Faultersack. Luke, what's going on, bro?
What's up, my man? How's it going?
Doing good. Glad to have you on, first and foremost, and shout out to your compatriot, Jeff, the administrator Peterson, and also the great Dane Donovan for setting this whole thing up. But, yay, right? But, man, so coming off of the holiday weekend, like, how are you feeling?
Feeling good, hanging out, really had a chill weekend. Trying not to get too sunburnt, didn't do too well at it, but besides that, just hung out a little bit, and enjoyed it.
I thought there was a glow about you that might have been different than pre, going what is it, July 1st. That's what I'm thinking. But like, I mean, obviously, there's a lot to kind of disseminate from, your 10 professional fights and the ones that you had in the Michigan regional scene. But like, how did you get into combat sports?
Well, I started doing sports at a very young age. My parents put me in baseball, t-ball, football, and wrestling. Did a little bit of everything, and those three sports stuck the most growing up. And being a smaller person, not always having that size, football was awesome. Baseball was awesome. Loved those sports, but wrestling was a sport that I really connected to because I didn't have any coaches to tell me, who can start where. You had no one to blame, if you lost, and there was weight classes, so it didn't matter how big you were, and I really liked that. So I did all three in high school, but wrestling really stuck out, and I was good enough to go to junior college and wrestle at Muskegon Community College, and took second my senior year in high school at the state wrestling tournaments, and took fifth my junior year. So to have that opportunity to wrestle at the next level was really awesome. Qualified for nationals one year, got a degree, associate's degree, and then really it was more of a choice to keep wrestling or to start doing this MMA stuff, which I loved, So I, in between wrestling and college during the summertime, I took some fights right after high school. In between that year of high school and college, I took some fights, and never was online, more of that, it was legit, but just not really documented. And a lot of fights back in 2008, 2010 in the Midwest, they threw them all the time. They didn't really have them on paper. And I got a lot of experience in between my wrestling years fighting, those kind of cage fights until I was about 22, like I said, and got done wrestling in college and was like, all right, now what am I going to do? Do I want to keep wrestling at a 4-year school? Do I want to try this MMA stuff? And that's when I made the move to California.
Yeah, but I mean, that's a part of the deal. But you had, pretty much all of your amateur career was done in Michigan?
All of it. My first pro fight was when I got to California, but I had about 10 fights, amateur fights in Michigan.
Now, what was the catalyst? I mean, because we know now with, Southern California being one of the, I would say, of course, Las Vegas is the fight capital of the world, but I mean, Southern California, just per square mile, per square inch, from, I mean, I would even say like Central Cali, all the way down to San Diego area. Uh, yeah, the best of everything, Muay Thai, wrestling, and what have you. But at that, mid 2000s era, and you had already had a promising, Midwestern kind of footing. What was it about California that appealed to you?
Well, there was that thought of staying in Michigan, but I think something subconsciously as a kid, um, always wanting to get out west, um, experiencing the world for the first, not always being in the same area my whole life. I know my hometown will always be there, and I love it, and I can't wait to go back when I'm old and gray. But right now, I'm not. I'm young and I'm having fun and I'm enjoying everything. And this is the time to take chances. It's the time to explore, and that's really is what motivated me to do it and not be scared. Yeah.
No, absolutely, and I'm glad you did. Glad you did. Now that first fight, like being in California, it's a different deal. But you're at Alliance East in Santee, California. But was that the first gym that you ended up training at?
So when I first moved to California, I lived in Ramona, which is kind of far away from San Diego. It's
Yeah.
about 45 minutes away. Um, but I decided to uh, train at Alliance Training Center in Chula Vista, the original one on 3rd and K. And that was just from a Google search, best gyms in San Diego. And I had my pick, and I was like, well, I'm moving out here. Which one am I going to pick? And that's the one I landed on. And I went there. Second, third day, I was, in town and drove 40, 45 minutes to get to the gym every day and started there and kind of branched out to Alliance East because it was a little closer to where I was living at. So I kind of started going there at night and then the original Alliance during the day to hit 2-a-days. And then I just, found myself at both places.
I like it, and get in while strike while the iron is hot. You're in a new place, new experiences. You might as well get the most eyes that you can have on you, and doing literally two different regimens at the same time. So that's amazing that you did that. But how long was it before you took your first fight? In your inclusion of the Alliance conglomerate team.
Yeah, so I moved out at the end of 2014, and I took my first pro fight in March of 2015. So I had about a few months at Alliance training, got used to it, and I was like, all right, it's time to go. So I did that, and I had my second pro fight later on that year in 2015. So it took me a few months, and I had to kind of establish myself at the gym and make sure I was able to train with the pros, train with some of the best. Um, and then I was like, all right, I'm going to turn pro like I said I would. And it's a big step to do that, especially when
Yeah.
you're 22 and you're like, I don't know, I could do another amateur fight, but sometimes you just got to jump, and not look.
No, 100%, and that's life, right? The variety is the spice of life, and sometimes, Blake Troop once told me, you miss 100% of the shots that you don't take, right? So yes, you could
Yep.
have probably won a California state title, or at least shot your shot and contended for one, but you're like, hey, let me just go pro. This is what I want to do anyway. So what was that first fight like, especially with a new team? That, I mean, yes, you were indoctrinated, but you hadn't actually gone into battle with them. It's different from the training aspect of it to like now you're the player one of essentially your coach's vision for you. So what was that first fight under the Alliance conglomerate banner alike?
Well, so to make a long story short, it was interesting because I barely was able to get on the pro team because they made me wait a few months to kind of make sure I was ready, or like a month or two. And I jumped on the pro team and I took that fight, and they didn't really want to back me for it. And I was like, I'm going to do it anyway. And Jeff Peterson and Alliance East were like, well, we're here anyway. We can help you out. And they were in my corner. And I fought under them for the first time. So I had Jeff Peterson and Jeremy McHone corner me for my pro debut. And I was training more at the original Alliance, but I was definitely at Alliance East once in a while. But I didn't know them as good as I know them today in 2021 that I did in 2014, 2015. So it was a crazy time, and I think that's another reason why I'm really close to them. You know, I get that. Yeah, that's what happened. So pretty much, yeah.
I love it. I love it. Now, what? I mean, did you have any kind of preconceived notions of what? Because you had already, again, had this, what, three, four fights in Michigan, right?
No, I had 10.
10.
Yeah.
Wow, Tapology didn't really.
No, so that's what I was saying is like back in 2008 or more like 2010, 2011, 2012, a lot of unsanctioned fights. A lot of fights that did not get documented but were legit. There was a legit cage, there was a referee, there was ring girls in a crowd. And there was someone across from me that wanted to take my head off. So for me, those were legit. At the amateur level, with those 10 fights, you definitely get ups and downs. You get good competitors, you get bad competitors. So you definitely get to test your skills and also get to polish your skills. That's why I did that many fights, because some of those I was really able to get comfortable on my feet and figure out my groove. And the Michigan scene back when I was in high school was there wasn't too many fights around, but if you knew the right people, you could definitely fight on the shows every show, and the shows would be every 3 months. So if you made the right connections, you could fight every 3 months if you really wanted to. So
Yeah.
And the only two that that are on Tapology, those are the only two I lost.
Wow, really?
Those are the only two I lost, and some people can say what they want. I can show you some YouTube videos, whatever I got to do, but it's a little deceiving, and that's why records are deceiving. I look at people's records on Tapology. It's deceiving. Especially dating back that far in the Midwest.
No,
For sure.
100%. Yeah, that's that almost it tips its hat to the early kind of enclaves of NHB, no holds barred, the precursor to MMA. It's like there's a lot of fights that heck. What is it?
I fought all my amateur fights with no shin guards and elbows.
Yeah.
Right off the get. I didn't know any better, and I can tell you this much: I didn't train elbows that much. So it was interesting to learn how to knee and elbow almost on the fly back in the day. It was almost, I was wrestling a lot, boxing at boxing gyms, but not kicking, kneeing, and doing jiu-jitsu all the time. So that stuff kind of came later on, but naturally in the fight too.
Incredible. Your teammate, our good friend, Nasty Nate, Nathaniel Jarkeen, says the Landshark, all caps, 100%.
Nasty Nate.
And Jamal Harris out of Extreme Couture says, Alliance guys are legit. My first fight was against an Alliance guy and got TKO'd in 43 seconds. So,
oh, man.
Shout out to Jamal Harris.
Yeah, shout out.
Yeah, but I mean, this run, right? Obviously, 10 fights as a pro, seemingly 10 fights. This is 20 fights in your combat sports career. Do you have a favorite one?
Um, there are a lot. I think to be right, I would have to split it up to amateur and pro because it really is two different levels. Amateur is great. I won belts at amateurs and amateur level, but pro, if you're really about it, that's where you want to shine. So I think one of my favorite ones um, definitely was my second pro fight in Oceanside. It was for True Form Entertainment, and I won from a front snap kick, Anderson Silva style. Yeah, it was pretty intense, and that was pretty crazy for me.
I like it, and again, Oceanside is pretty close to home. Your new home in terms of San Diego, so that's not too bad to be fighting pretty close.
Yeah, I actually didn't know how spoiled I was. I haven't been able to do that again. Uh, I was like, oh man, this is cool, and I don't know. Now I fight wherever I can get it, but to go up to Oceanside and it was on the beach. It was 45 minutes away. It was cool. I wish they would do it all the time like that.
I know, 100%, 100%. And especially those kind of. I remember Roy Engelbright used to do the Rumble on the Water by the Queen Mary in Long Beach, and
Oh.
it's like, it just gives a different aesthetic, kind of, integrating nature with, with fights.
Yeah, it's just a different scenery. It's cool, like kind of when they do fights at balls with like the chandeliers and nice, you know, nice surroundings. It's cool to have to fight in different places for sure, for as a fighter. But maybe once I'm done fighting here, I can become a promoter and I can figure that stuff out.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. We need the Landshark as a matchmaking aficionado. That's what I'm saying.
Landshark fighting fighting MMA promotion. I'll figure it out.
Yeah,
Uh,
I think there's something there. There's definitely something there that needs to be hashed out. But speaking of things that need to be hashed out, Chris says, when's the next season of the Luke and Jeff show happening? So for those that aren't inclined, please divulge what the Jeff, the administrator Peterson, and Luke, the Landshark Faultersack show. What is that?
okay, well, first of all, thanks, Chris. No, this show is pretty funny. Me and Jeff used to do skits at the old gym where we were at the old location, and we would do skits, and we have a couple funny ones, I would say, and then we'd also do a few little videos of just talking about MMA and kind of how we got into it and just blabbing, like kind of like we're doing now. And but it was just funny because we just kind of just put up a camera and threw it up there, and some of our members loved it. So they want it back. We might have to bring it back. We gotta give the people. Gotta give the people
what they want, right? I mean, because you did the one, there's that euphemism that you leave the audience wanting more. Well, you guys have already done it, right? Because Chris is a fan, and I think you need to indoctrinate it. And I always love, especially in the instance of fighters, when Dana White is saying, hey, this is not a career, this is an opportunity, and what have you. So guys and gals that could make a little bit of extra dough away from the fight life, I'm all for it.
Yeah. That was definitely something that came from boredom and the love of fighting, because we were like, let's start making some videos, some funny videos, and it's pretty funny. We'd joke around and say, hey, check it out, we got 4 followers, woo, and just we got a whole 2 likes, so it was fun.
That's the progression. That's the progression. That's man. I started this very podcast on the phone. Honest to goodness. So I'm just,
That's awesome. That's awesome. It's all hard work, right? Perseverance. Yep.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Now we mentioned just a tad bit about. Well, I don't know if we talked about Connor and Poirier that's coming up this Saturday, but Jamal Harris wants to know uh, who you got.
All right. Well, Jamal, well, check this out. I don't bet often, but I bet last time a little money on McGregor, and I had a parlay with him and Michael Chandler when Chandler fought Hooker, and Chandler beat Hooker, and I was like, "Whew, I'm feeling good," and then my heart crushed because I'm not a big McGregor kiss up. I don't not like him, but I
Right.
also don't like. I'm not like bow down to Connor. So, but I did think he was gonna win last time.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't. I kind of saw some weaknesses. To be honest, I have no idea. I think Poirier will probably get it again. I really do think when it comes down to the later rounds.
Yeah, here's the fact of the matter, and I want to say that I read a quote yesterday from Poirier as they were doing the media rounds and what have you, but he was saying, right, this fight with Connor, right, he's a prize fighter, and him fighting for the title, it's 1/8 of what he's making with the McGregor fight. So, not to say, not to say that the title isn't important, but
Money
hell,
talks.
yeah. So
Talks. Yeah.
I'm just saying. So I personally respect both of them. I don't, not to say I don't have a dog in the hunt, but I know people that know both guys, and will give you the same story that they're the hardest working guys in the room. Connor, not to say that he doesn't work hard, because he does. Anybody that says that he's trash, again, that would also be saying that Eddie Alvarez and Jose Aldo are trash, and that's not something that
Yeah.
you can believe that. I personally don't believe that.
No.
All right, yeah.
No.
So with that all being said, he's good. Pretty similar stories. Conor McGregor, blue collar. Dustin Poirier, blue collar, and then rose to the heights that they are in. But I often wonder, right? Like a Canelo, right? He's the big money fighter, right? When you
Yeah.
talk about big money fighters in combat sports, he is the guy. He is the guy. Maybe Tyson Fury, maybe Joshua, what have you, but like definitely Canelo, we can pretty much agree, is one of the top earners and of all of combat sports. And the fact of the matter is, I don't know how, with the type of numbers that are being disseminated around, and who knows, right? Because it's all in the envelopes of the promoters and what they will disclose to us. Not every. I don't think that what is it? The boxing promoters are like Dana at the end of the fights. We're like, this is what the gate was. This is whatever. That is shrouded in secrecy. But I will say this. I will say that the fact that Connor, with as much money, the 100, like going into the Floyd fight, right? He was already the highest paid earner in all of MMA. So that's taking MVP, that's taking everybody in Bellator, that's taking Ronda and Brock during their runs, right? And he is the top earner amongst all of that. Goes in, Floyd, $100 million for his troubles, right? I mean, before the Cowboy Cerrone fight, he hadn't won a fight in almost 4 years, right? And he's still a draw. So I don't know why he's coming back, because I don't know if Jeff Bezos or any of these like multi-millionaires, if not billionaires, are taking punches to the head. So I wonder about Floyd and Connor and Canelo. I'm all like, I'm going to buy an island, and I'm not doing too much of anything.
Yeah. I sometimes I wonder about these guys. I have fought for a while, but I haven't took too much damage, and but I haven't also made too much money. So that's the thing that I'm gonna keep doing. If I am to make money, I probably am not gonna fight, and I don't know how much money that's gonna take, but I know it's not gonna be too much. It's
Yeah.
gonna be And I have a different mindset now. I'm 29 now. I have a different mindset than when I was 21 with it. But for sure, I know that it's it's a hard life. It's if you want to really do good and be smart about it, you have to really um, nowadays figure out who you're fighting and make sure you're not just jumping in there with anyone, because you could really get hurt and boom, there it is. You're get paid nothing. You got a concussion, and that now what? Now you gotta try to get another win back, and it's hard for sure. It's a tough sport, and
It's
waking up in silk sheets and getting paid $100 million, or whatever his net worth is, that's hard. And I know that, um, yeah, that Dustin Poirier is not doing too bad himself, but he also never got that big money fight. He kind of still had those big UFC payday fights, but those were against some dogs.
yeah.
Those were against tough opponents. While Connor kind of chilled a little bit and waited until Khabib. So it'll be good. It's always going to be a good fight. You never know with fighting. It could take one punch, and that's a good and bad thing.
Yeah, no, 100%, 100%. I want everyone to get paid. I want, if Dana and WME, I might have a couple shares of Endeavor.
Yeah.
I want everyone to do well. Like, I almost wanted to say, till in the last couple of fights, like everybody that got the $50,000 bonus, like, especially if you're complaining about fighter pay, put that $50,000 and buy 50,000 or even 5, 10, $15,000 worth of the stock of the company, right? Now
Yeah.
they have to listen to you because now you're a shareholder.
Oh yeah, dude, get him one up. Yeah.
I'm just saying.
So
You want to advocate for better, that's it. You
I
are
bought
literally there.
I bought a few shares
Yeah. I think everyone should. I think
just to
I
feel like
yeah, a little bit of that Scrooge McDuck, jumping into the vault of money, right?
yeah,
I'm just saying.
yeah,
I can tell Dana what's what,
yeah. He works
Yeah.
for me now.
Right? Yeah, and Jamal Harris says, "Ah, crap," and I wish you success, Luke. Take this guy's soul. Which I gotta ask, in terms of this 20, fight career that you have, what are you looking forward most to? I mean, what's on the horizon?
um, I'm pretty pretty close to seeing the outer ways of MMA. I like I said, I haven't made a ton of money in the sport, and I haven't got quite to where I want it to be. So I'm kind of in a dilemma. I'm kind of in like a gray area where
Yeah.
I want to get in the UFC and Bellator and make another run. Um, but I also don't want to take a bunch of fights to do it and
Mm-hmm.
get paid not a lot of money, and then end up with a bunch of damage and then still not get there. So um, I have a record right now that's very it could go either way. I'm 6-4. A couple wins would be real good. Um, and if it went the other way, it's not going to be good. And I'm like I said, I'm 29 going on 30. I've done this 20 times. Um, I you know I've cut a lot of weight over the years. There's a lot of things I've done, so I really do feel like I'm a young veteran, but I am a vet. I've done this a lot. I have a lot of um, amateur wrestling matches in youth um, and high school, and it's just yeah. I don't know what's on the horizon. To get real with you, if I get this next fight and take him out right away, I'll probably say, hey, let's get another one. I'm ready. Um, but if it's a dog fight and I have to really dig deep like I usually do, because these guys nowadays, once you get a couple fights under your belt, they're not easy. None of these guys are going in there losing, trying to lose, or
Right.
thinking that They're coming in there to take your head off. So if you're not ready, you're gonna get your head taken off. So I gotta make sure I'm still good up here.
Yeah.
I think I'm definitely good up physically. Um, it's just I'm taking it one fight at a time, pretty much. Without I already talked a bunch, but I'm taking it one fight at a time. And if the streak continues, I'm gonna try to get back in the LFA and try to find Dana White and kiss his bald head. If not, it is what it is. I love coaching at Alliance East. I'm blessed to have Kim and Jeff Peterson as my co-coaches and friends. They help me out a lot, and I just love the students and love teaching martial arts. But I also love competing and getting to a point where I better myself. You just better yourself as a fighter. I think a lot of people don't understand. Like, fighting is not just getting punched in the face and beat up. I stopped watching TV less. I stopped drinking alcohol. There's things you get in mad shape. You eat healthier than you already are. So there's a lot of things that leading up to this fight makes me better, and that's why I love to do it, and that's why I'm doing it again. But it comes with a lot of heartache, it comes with a lot of backspin with it. So you got to just take it. I'm taking it one at a time, and I'm enjoying it for sure. I'm enjoying the ride.
I love it. I love it. But this ride, of course, you step into the cage alone, right? But this ride is not done absolutely solo, right? Because you've had a contingent, a throng of supporters, both in life and in fight, that have supported you on this run, both professionally and personally. So take as long as you like. Let's get some shout outs out of the way.
Oh man, all right. Well, first and foremost, let me thank my mom and dad. I love you, mom and dad. They're probably not even listening. I don't know what they're doing, working,
Let's
because
send them the link.
they've worked their whole life, to let me do what I do. My dad taking me to wrestling tournaments as a kid. My mom supporting me through fighting, even though she freaking hates it. So I appreciate you guys big time. My sister, Jenna, I love you. Jeff and Kim, I appreciate you guys. They're awesome. Jeff is my coach, my friend, my teammate. Um, he's awesome. Um, I I'd like to thank I have a list of sponsors too.
Yeah.
But
Let's do that.
I'll hit them up. Don't worry. I'll let you know. I won't miss them. But Coach John X, I appreciate you. Let me see who else. I think that's pretty much it for the coaches. Let me see. So for sponsors, this fight, it was amazing. I honestly, to be 100% truthful, I've never had this many sponsors in any of my fights ever. It was amazing. It's my 11th pro fight, and have had the most I've ever had. I also want to thank Dane. I forgot.
Yeah, shout out to Dane Donovan. Yeah.
Um, Dane Donovan, you're the man. All right. Yeah. So, for my sponsors, Chris Ashby Designs. Chris, you're the man. I appreciate you. Chris is a brown belt in jiu-jitsu, black belt in karate. So he'll mess you up too. No. Chris, I appreciate you. The law office of James P. Rowe. James, thank you very much. Clipper Crew Barbershop. Gio gives the best haircuts out in San Diego. Gets me lined up every time, looking fresh. Always have people turning their heads once I walk out of there. CBD America Shaman of Rogers. So thank you for their CBD. Been getting me nice and chill. All Out Garage and Customs. Daniel Alvarez. Thank you, bud. Just started his business. I hope that goes well for you. Karchner, Mobile Welding, and Fabric. Thank you guys. You guys are awesome. Heidi, Andy, you guys are one of a kind. Chilling Out Cairo, located in La Jolla. Thank you guys. Got me nice and chill. Rhino Power Sports Supplements. And of course, Alliance East, my gym.
I love it. I absolutely love it. And DVA Mechanics gives you the Mario Yamasaki. So thank you, DVA Mechanics over on Twitch. But before we go, the deets on this upcoming fight. Where can we watch it? When's it going down, and where's it going down?
So it's going down in Bentonville, Arkansas, in the sticks somewhere. To be honest, I've never been to Arkansas. I never really been in that area, so we'll see how it is. It's at a fairgrounds, so that's going to be interesting. But 20 fights in, I fought at pretty much everywhere from big arenas to bars. So I'm ready for wherever it is. It's going to be I'm going to have a link on Instagram, and I'm going to tell everybody. So just follow me at LXJXF on Instagram, and I'll give you a link for the pay-per-view. Should be only $15, but you can check out the fight there. And yeah. Yes, sir.
Hell yes. Now, obviously, you just shouted out the Instagram, so go ahead and follow Luke the Landshark Faultersack as he gets ready to put some fisticuffs on somebody in Bentonville, Arkansas. Shout out to Bentonville, Arkansas. But Luke, thank you for doing this. Thank you, Dane Donovan, and thank you guys for watching us here at According to Woods. And if you haven't already done so, go ahead and like, share, and subscribe to the According to Woods podcast on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. I mean, Luke, you're subscribed to the podcast, aren't you?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yes, so be like Luke, the Landshark Faultersack, and subscribe to the According to Woods podcast. But if you don't believe me, believe Luke, and I don't know why you wouldn't. Here's pro wrestler Zeta Zhang to convince you.
Hey, this is Zeta Zhang. Make sure you subscribe